Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating question, one that sits right at that crossroads where faith and psychology meet. Why do people react in such wildly different ways to the exact same prayer?
All right, I want you to picture something with me. You're in a room, maybe a charismatic church or some kind of spiritual gathering, and the air is just thick with emotion. You can feel the hope and the expectation all around you. So the music starts to swell, a leader's voice cuts through with so much passion, and you can just feel this collective energy building and building, and then, right as the prayer hits its absolute peak, something really remarkable starts to happen. You see some people start to cry or shake, some even fall to the ground, but then you look around and other people are standing perfectly still, like they're totally unfazed. And that right there, that's our central mystery. In the exact same moment, hearing the exact same words. Why is there such a huge difference in how people react? What is actually going on here? So we've got this really powerful, kind of puzzling scene, right? It's a real human experience that just raises so many questions. And to really get our heads around it, we've got to look at it from two very different but equally important angles.
First up, let's explore the explanation that comes from inside the belief system itself. How does spirituality make sense of all these different reactions? Well, from a spiritual perspective, these different reactions are actually seen as pretty natural. The thinking is, just like we all have different personalities, we also have different levels of spiritual sensitivity. So, someone who's maybe more emotionally open might have this huge, powerful physical release. It's often called deliverance. And that's seen as a really good thing, like they're being freed from these spiritual burdens they've been carrying. On the other hand, some folks are just more grounded or calm by nature. Their lack of a big, showy reaction isn't seen as a lack of faith at all. It's just a different temperament. You could say their strength is in their stillness.
Okay, now let's switch gears. We're going to put on a different lens and see what psychology can tell us. And just to be clear, this isn't about trying to disprove anyone's belief. Not at all. It's about understanding the powerful, fascinating mechanics of the human mind in these kinds of environments.
So, a key concept here is something called suggestibility. Now, this isn't about being weak-minded or gullible. It's a totally normal human trait that's just stronger in some people than in others. Think about it. In a super emotional setting with music, an authority figure, all that collective energy, our brains can kind of enter a heightened state. And for people who are more suggestible, the powerful expectation that something is going to happen can trigger a very real physical response. It's not faked, it's the mind-body connection in full effect.
This is actually pretty closely related to something most of us have heard of, the placebo effect, right? We know that if you believe a simple sugar pill is powerful medicine, your body can actually start to heal itself. It's just incredible proof of how potent belief is. It has the power to create real, tangible, physical changes, whether that's in a medical study or in an emotionally charged room.
Now, let's look at another piece of the puzzle, a communication technique called cold reading. A speaker might look out and see someone who's already looking emotional, and they might make a very general statement, something like, "Something has been blocking your progress." Well, for the person hearing that, who's already in this vulnerable state, that statement can feel incredibly personal and deeply true. And then, the speaker can see that emotional reaction and build on it, making the message seem even more specific and direct.
And the reason this technique works so well is explained by what's called the Barnum effect. You know that feeling you get when you read your horoscope and think, wow, that is so me? That's it. We humans have this natural tendency to take pretty vague information and believe it's uniquely and specifically about us, especially when we're searching for answers.
Okay, so we've got the spiritual view and we've got the psychological view. Do you have to pick a side? Are they in conflict? Or could it be that they're actually describing the exact same human experience, just using a different language?
For me, this is the real aha moment. Just look at this comparison. What one person might call a blocking curse could be another person's way of describing a period of chronic stress or a really tough time in their life. A spirit of fear? Well, that can be a really powerful spiritual metaphor for a deep emotional or psychological struggle. And that dramatic experience of deliverance? That can absolutely be understood as a profound, cathartic, emotional release. They aren't necessarily competing truths. They can be two different languages for the same deep human struggle.
So, after looking at all of this, what's the big takeaway? Why does understanding these different perspectives even matter? And here it is, the single most important truth in all of this. Whether you have a huge, dramatic reaction or you feel absolutely nothing at all, both are completely normal. Having a strong physical reaction doesn't make you more spiritual, and standing perfectly still doesn't mean you're less faithful. There's nothing wrong with you. Your experience is your own, and it is valid.
Let's end on this thought, because I think it just perfectly summarizes everything. The real goal isn't to judge our reactions, or anyone else's for that matter, but just to seek understanding. Because true strength, whether you see it as spiritual or personal, really comes from self-awareness and from clarity. Thanks for joining me for this one.